Have you ever had a cold and thought, I'll just take some medicine and rest? Well, imagine if your doctor prescribed leeches, or mercury, or even a dose of radioactive water. Sounds bizarre, right? But believe it or not, these were once considered cutting-edge treatments. From drilling holes in skulls to balance the so-called humors, to using live animals as bandages. Humans have tried just about everything in the name of healing. Today, we're diving into 10 of the strangest medical practices in history. The kind that will leave you shocked, confused, and maybe just a little more grateful for modern medicine. So buckle up, because this is going to get weird. Let's get into it. Thousands of years ago, people had a very different idea of medicine. If you had a migraine, or were struggling with what we now call mental illness, the solution, they believed, was simple. Drill a hole right into your skull. It's called trepanation. And believe it or not, there's archaeological evidence that some people actually survived it. But why? Why would anyone willingly let someone chisel into their head? The answer is chilling. To release evil spirits. That's right. They thought the pain wasn't in your mind, but in your soul. Honestly, just thinking about it feels like a headache waiting to happen. In ancient China and medieval Europe, there was a so-called miracle cure, a shimmering silver liquid, believed to have mystical healing powers. That liquid was mercury. Yes, mercury. The same toxic metal we now know can destroy the brain and nervous system. Back then, it was used to treat everything from skin conditions to parasitic infections, even sexually transmitted diseases. Some believed it could even prolong life or grant spiritual protection. But instead of healing, mercury did the exact opposite. It slowly poisoned the body, causing tremors, tooth loss, madness, and, eventually, death, all while patients thought they were getting better. It's one of history's cruelest ironies. A cure that killed. And yet, for centuries, people kept using it, because sometimes belief is more powerful than science. In the late 1800s, a well-known pharmaceutical company was looking for the next big breakthrough. That company was Bayer. Yes, the same one that makes aspirin today. And their brand new miracle drug? Heroin. They marketed it as a non-addictive alternative to morphine, and even advertised it as a cough suppressant for children. That's right. Heroin for kids. It came in syrup form, was easy to take, and calmed even the worst cough almost instantly. It worked. A little too well. Doctors began to notice something troubling. Patients weren't just feeling better. They were coming back for more. Again and again. Children who had taken it were showing signs of dependency. And adults? They were getting hooked. It didn't take long for the medical community to realize this so-called wonder drug was highly addictive. Turns out, giving opioids to kids wasn't such a great idea after all. For centuries, long before modern medicine, doctors believed that every illness came from one simple problem: an imbalance of the bodies for humors, blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. If one was out of balance, even just a little, you could get sick, really sick. So, what was the cure? Simple. Drain your blood. This practice, called bloodletting, was used for everything: fevers, headaches, infections, even anxiety. They used sharp knives, metal tools, glass suction cups, and of course, leeches. Yes, actual, live leeches, stuck right onto your skin to suck the excess blood out. The idea was to restore balance, but in reality, it often made things worse. Much worse. Patients would grow weaker, dizzy, even go into shock. And sometimes, they didn't survive the cure. It's a brutal reminder that for most of history, medicine was based more on guesswork than science. Believe it or not, there was a time when doctors actually prescribed cigarettes to treat asthma. Yeah, not joking. In the 1800s and early 1900s, brands like asthma cigarettes were sold over the counter. They were marketed as a way to relieve wheezing, coughing, and tightness in the chest. The idea? That inhaling smoke could somehow calm the lungs. Some were even labeled doctor recommended, and people believed it. Because, back then, if it felt like it worked, that was enough. But what they didn't realize was that this treatment was doing the opposite. Instead of healing the lungs, it was destroying them. Cigarettes cause inflammation, scarring, and long-term respiratory damage, especially dangerous for people with asthma. Today, it sounds ridiculous. But back then, it was just medicine. One more reminder that in history, not every cure was a good idea. In the 1920s, radiation wasn't feared. It was fashionable. Enter Radithor, a drink made of distilled water, infused with radium. Yes, the radioactive element. It was marketed as a health tonic, promising to boost energy, cure all sorts of ailments, and even enhance your sex appeal. The label said it was certified radioactive, and that was supposed to be a good thing. Athletes, businessmen, even socialites drank it daily, thinking it was the next miracle elixir. One of its most famous fans? A wealthy industrialist named Eben Byers. He believed in Radithor so much. He drank over 1,000 bottles. At first, he said he felt great, but then his health started to collapse. His bones weakened, his teeth fell out, and eventually, his entire jaw disintegrated. By the time doctors stepped in, it was too late. Radithor didn't make him stronger. It killed him. Just because something glows doesn't mean it's good for you. In Victorian times, the beauty standard was deadly. Pale skin wasn't just fashionable. It was seen as a sign of purity, wealth, and elegance. And to achieve that look, some women turned to arsenic. Yes, arsenic, a known poison. They took tiny doses in pills, powders, and even wafers, promising to give their skin a soft, porcelain glow. At first, it worked. Complexions lightened, blemishes faded, and the ethereal look took hold. But over time, the consequences crept in. Hair began to fall out. Nails turned brittle. Organs quietly started shutting down. The same substance giving that radiant glow was poisoning them from the inside out. And the worst part? Some kept taking it, even as they got sicker, believing that beauty was worth the price. In a way, it was the original beauty is pain, except in this case, beauty could kill you. Yes, this really happened. People once swallowed tapeworms on purpose to lose weight. It sounds like a horror movie, but in the late 1800s and early 1900s, some diet fads went to extremes. The idea was simple. You'd ingest a pill or capsule containing tapeworm eggs. Once inside your body, the worm would hatch, latch onto your intestines, and start eating your food before you could absorb it. Less calories for you. Instant weight loss. But of course, there were side effects. Nausea, bloating, constant hunger. And the worst part? You might not know how big the worm got, or how many were inside you. Some grew up to 25 feet long, inside a human. Eventually, you'd need medicine or surgery to get it out. So yes, this was a real diet trend. Proof that when it comes to weight loss fads, things can get seriously gross. In the 1940 and 1950, doctors believed they'd found a solution to mental illness. It was called the lobotomy. The procedure? Cutting into the brain, specifically the frontal lobe, to calm patients with conditions like depression, anxiety, and schizophrenia. It was seen as cutting edge, even Nobel Prize winning. Doctors used metal picks, drills, even ice picks, inserted through the eye socket or skull, to sever neural connections. And for a while, it worked. Patients became quiet, compliant, less troubled. But there was a cost, a devastating one. Many lost their personalities, their emotions, their ability to think clearly or live independently. Some were left permanently disabled. Others never recovered at all. Yet thousands were lobotomized, including children, prisoners, and people who simply didn't fit in. Today, we look back in shock. The lobotomy is now seen as a dark, brutal chapter in medical history, when silence was mistaken for healing. So, feeling lucky to be alive now? Which one shocked you the most? Drop a comment, hit like, and don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing facts every week. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.